Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about lost creatures. Um, and the reason we're talking about this today is something that just happened in my life. I was coming back from Philadelphia. I was driving back from Philadelphia, and I was getting back into my suburban area, right? So I'm in one of the suburbs that's close to where I live, which is in another suburb of Philadelphia, a bit south of Philadelphia. And I'm coming up, and I pass this I pass kind of a residential area. Then I pass this shopping center, and I'm going up this hill, and this little dog jumps out into the road, right? And the little dog's, I'd say it's about as big as two loaves of bread, and it's clearly a mix, right? And it's filthy. It hasn't been washed in weeks or months, and it has no collar, right? And it almost gets hit by my car, right? So, but I, slow down, and I'm very careful, and I'm like, whoa, right? That dog, I just look at the thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that dog, you can see its ribs, is really dirty, and clearly living outdoors, and it has no collar, right? So clearly this thing has no owner, right? So I go up to the next street, and then I turn around, and I go back, and I park my car where there's in that parking strip, right? And then I go to try to get the dog, right? And I'm thinking, well, what are you gonna do, right? And I'm like, well, I'm just gonna grab him, see if I can get him in the car, take him home and wash him and feed him, and then let's see if maybe we can find his owner, right? So I run after him, and actually I walked, and I only ran. I walked, right, and he starts, and he gets away from me and then runs into this parking lot, into this shopping center, and there was a beer distributor there, and there were a whole bunch of people, and then a couple of the guys came out, and they did exactly what I did, chased him farther up and tried to get him, right? Because it was clear he was just not being taken care of by anyone, right? And then those guys saw him scamper off, and so then I followed further. And I followed him to this chained area where there was like an abandoned building in a chained up fenced area. So he goes through there, and then I saw him go out the back toward this wooded area. Then and then I couldn't tell which way he went. I think he went into this residential area where there's like densely packed houses, and so I walked a few blocks there, couldn't find him. Went back around the wood area, but the wood area was thick woods. And I just couldn't go in safely, I didn't think. And I just couldn't find him again, right? So the next day, I went back out, and I spent another half hour looking for him in the same place, right? Safe as, making a search that was diligent as possible, and as safe as possible. And it just didn't work, right? I couldn't find him. And it broke my heart, right? To think this poor dog is out there. And I actually asked in the residential area about him, and one of the ladies says, oh, well, almost certainly what's happened is people will move from this area, and sometimes they'll just leave their dog. They won't take the dog to the new place. And I was like, oh, dude, that's not good. She's like, yeah, that's not good. We were like, and so, we both were like, that's bad, right? But it was really sad, and it was and there was a hard stop on it, right? And I was like, this is the amount of time and expenditure that I can put into this quest, and I have failed this quest, right? But I realized, why do we come to Dungeons and Dragons? And I think one of the reasons why we come to Dungeons and Dragons is there's so many more beautiful resolutions in Dungeons and Dragons. In Dungeons and Dragons, you'd simply find a wizard, and you would pay him to do locate creature, and the wizard could find him, right? And the quest can be done. And I think don't be depressed, don't be sad. And here's why do we go to Dungeons and Dragons? It's not for escapism. We're not looking to escape something. We're looking to practice at succeeding. Deborah Ann Woll said this. She said, Dungeons and Dragons is practice protecting the innocent. And she meant it's not practice so you get better in D&D. It's practice so you get better in real life, right? And I think we go to Dungeons and Dragons to complete quests and to level up so we can practice it to do it in real life, right? So that, and I continue to go back to Dungeons and Dragons, and I think, in Dungeons and Dragons, this would have ended with a locate creature spell, right? Being, with some gold. But one of the things that here is too is resources, right? So if we have gold, we can help, right? We would need to locate creature. We need to spend to get a wizard to pay locate creature. But I think if we continue to practice if we do Dungeons and Dragons, it draws us to all these incredible exercises and these incredible methods that we attach to ourselves that are beautiful and powerful, right? And that at the end of the day, where we end up is we know we have multiple solutions. We don't have magic spells, but sometimes we actually have more solutions than most people, and we have more wherewithal, and we can go longer on a quest. I think a lot of people would not have went back the second day to help that dog, right? And I really feel like Dungeons and Dragons really helps us to push past and to do things that are powerful, right? In my humble opinion, I agree with Deborah Ann Woll. Deborah Ann Woll thinks that Dungeons and Dragons is practicing to protect the innocent. I think Dungeons and Dragons is helping us practice to complete quests in real life, and we get used to a rhythm of success, so that when we hit challenges in the real world, we're not deterred and we keep going, right? Because we have this hope, this expectation that quests can be fulfilled. Even if that doesn't always happen in the IRL, it gives us more hope, and it gives us more freedom, and it gives us more methods and more ways to pursue it, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.